Good afternoon. Welcome back to another episode of Touchdown Talk. Today is Tuesday or Wednesday, actually, September 17th. I'm recording this video a little earlier in the day just because I had lunch break, so I figured might as well. I'm already a little late this week on getting this recap video out, but week 3 came and went. Another good one. A lot of high scoring games and big time matchups. Everything that we thought would happen this weekend. A lot of heartbreak again for Arkansas. It feels like it's just a reoccurring theme. Also, I'm sorry if I sound a little stomped up or anything. A little under the weather today, but um, yeah, I guess we'll just jump right into this recap. I hope to have a video for week 4 coming out in the next day or two. So fingers crossed on that. I'll keep y'all posted. But before I get into the recap, if you're new here and you're watching for the first time, hit that subscribe button. If you want to hear more content like this, just recaps, previews, predictions, everything college football. So let's jump into it. So our first game on the bet list, we went. Okay, so we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bets, and we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We went 5 and 2. So good week 3 right there. Friday night 6:30 we had Houston versus Colorado -4.5. Houston came out of the gate swinging. Their defense was flying around to the ball. I really liked what I saw in the first half, and then offense. I wouldn't say it was really slow to start, but it was 16-14 at halftime. But then they turned the Connor Wigman and the Houston offense turned it on, along with their defense just being shut down. The final score ended 36-14. So really impressive showing from Houston there. I saw a lot on Colorado. It didn't really make me nervous, but it was kind of split, and I felt good about Houston at home, just seeing what I've seen from them this year. So that was a good win right there. Ryan Staub, or Staub, however you want to say, gets a start for Colorado. And they pan over to the bench midway through the first, and you see Julian Lewis and Caden Salter sitting there. And Caden Salter looks like he's quit. He's lost his job, and this Ryan Staub looks a little more set at quarterback than him, just from what I'm seeing so far. And I think he may give you your best ability to win a couple more games, but I don't see Colorado making a bowl game this year. I think I see a 4-8 year just with how the Big 12 is panning out. And you have a defense that can't really stop anybody. I mean, I know you gave up 9 to Delaware, and that was it, but you couldn't stop Georgia Tech with the run. You couldn't stop Houston all night. Moving on, we had Saturday 11 a.m. game, Georgia Tech versus Clemson. Georgia Tech with the 24-21 field goal winner in the final seconds from 55 yards. This guy's career longest. Sorry, got a notification. All week, I had been talking about Georgia Tech, how high I was on them, and Haynes King came through again. I mean, they don't really have to throw the ball whenever him and Jamal Haynes can run the ball like they did Saturday. I mean, it was a rush fest where Clemson, hey, we're going to make Clemson try to stop us with this. And if it doesn't work, if Clemson's offense can't or defense can't, we're going to keep doing it. And sure enough, that's what they did. I mean, Haynes King keeps taking beating after beating, but keeps getting better and better as the game goes on, the more injured he is. I don't know what it is, but just something clicks, and yeah. But if you're on the other side of the ball and you're Clemson, you're looking at this year where you're 1-2, and luckily, thankfully, got that one against Troy in a comeback win. But you're sitting here wondering like, what in the world is going on? Rightfully so. I mean, Cade Klubnik has not looked like the guy that everybody thought he was going to be this year. Is going into a top three Heisman odds and just one of the top three quarterbacks in general. And he's looked at like not even in the top 25 quarterbacks. With a wide receiver core that is next to none in the country, I mean, they got to get something figured out because it'll be a long ACC schedule where I mean, they're not even ranked right now. But if you can't end the year 9-3 and finish well in the ACC, you're missing college football playoff. You're not making the ACC championship game, and you don't really recruit or go after many people in the transfer portal. So everybody you're losing, who are you replacing with? Young guys. So I don't know. It's too early to cut the head off Clemson, but we'll see in a few weeks for sure. Moving on to our 2:30 games, we had USC minus 20.5 at Purdue. Tough loss there. Really, the thing that kind of sealed the deal was Purdue down 20-3, runs a little screen or something out of the backfield. Halfback throws back to the quarterback. USC gets their hands on it. It's a fumble because it's a backwards pass. The guy picks it up and runs it in for a touchdown for Purdue. That right there, I knew the spread was not going to hit. But Jaden Maeva, again, this game, looking the part. I mean, your defense gave up 17 points. I'm pulling it up right now on this, sorry. Your defense gave up 17 points. Your offense scored 33, I think it was. Sorry. Here we go. Yeah, 33-17, where there was a 3-hour delay involved in this. Jaden Maeva went 17 for 28, 282 yards, no touchdowns. But then on the other side of the ball, Brown, the quarterback for Purdue, went 24 for 39, 305 yards, one touchdown, three interceptions. And, I mean, you can't ask much more for 33 on the road out of your offense. But another touchdown wouldn't have hurt. I know with Barry Odom there, it's just a tough first year for Purdue. Yeah, we'll see how Purdue does, but they go to Notre Dame next week. Not any easier, certainly. So yeah, going to our next 2:30 game, we maybe have the game of the year. Georgia at Tennessee. Georgia minus 3.5. Sneaks out with a 44-41 victory. Down 21-7 in the first too. It was looking grim for Kirby Smart and that Georgia team, but they respond with 10 in the second quarter, get it 21-17 at half, and then come out and not tie the game, but you're down one after the end of the third. You get a big connection from Gunnar Stockton to London Humphreys to tie the game with less than a minute left. And then you get the 2-point conversion, and that sends it to overtime where Tennessee, well, before that, Tennessee has a chance. People in the stadium thought that field goal was going in when it was one of the farthest right kicks possible. I mean, that did not have a chance. But you're looking at that, and it's a 40-something yarder. You should hit that in a big-time game. That's where you make. I mean, that you just have to have that at home. because you gave Georgia new life, new momentum. Tennessee got the ball first in overtime, went down, kicked a field goal, and that was it. I mean, Georgia, whenever you give them that, and they're going down and scoring, and yeah, that was the case. I mean, Gunnar Stockton was 23 for 31, 304 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Nate Frazier, 14 carries, 73 yards. But the real story, honestly, is Joey Aguilar against this Georgia defense, which was my question this week going into it. Joey Aguilar versus a real defense and new wide receivers. How are they going to look? And Joey Aguilar looks like a top 4 quarterback in the SEC right now. 24 for 36, 371 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, but it's okay. But then Chris Brazzell, 6 catches, 177 yards, and 3 touchdowns. I mean, that just kind of answered my question right there. New wide receivers, Chris Brazzell steps in and has one of the games of his life. I mean, against a top 3 defense in the country. So, Tennessee is going to be pretty good this year. I mean, I wouldn't see them losing, but maybe 1 or 2 more games after this one. On the other hand, Georgia, that's kind of the win you needed with your offense. Get going to propel you and really set up better for the SEC, because next week you have, or not this, you're off this week. Next week, the 27th, you have Alabama coming to town, then Kentucky, then go to Auburn, test there. Then Ole Miss comes to Georgia. Then you got Florida and the biggest cocktail party or whatever it is. Mississippi State, Texas at Georgia, Charlotte, and then Georgia Tech. So this was a big momentum thing for Georgia's offense. You know Kirby Smart's going to have them fixed and ready to go. It's just taking some time with Gunnar Stockton finally getting the starts under his belt, So, with that, moving on to the Saturday 6 o'clock game. Arkansas and Ole Miss. Ole Miss squeaks out the win, 41-35. In a game that you can see that ending happening for Arkansas. You just sit there and you're like, we have a chance to go down and win, and something happens. That's something only Arkansas would pull off. But the first drive of the game, 4th and 2, you're sending your freshman kicker to make his second collegiate kick, but this time, the first one on the road, in a hostile SEC environment, night game, from 52 yards out, instead of 4th and 2, where you have Taylor Green and Mike Washington and Braylon Russell, that you could put all 3 of them in the backfield and run some sort of crazy diversion and pick up 2 easily. And if that's not there, you have an RPO out of that, where you can hit a wide receiver if they're committing to the run. That's the aggressiveness that we don't have, that Arkansas does not have, to say, hey, we're here, and we're coming, and we're going to win, okay? Now, if you took Arkansas Ole Miss over 62 and Arkansas plus 8 early in the week, like I was saying, you're welcome. 2-0 right there. I mean, there was 59 at halftime. So, but your Arkansas's defense looked like a JV defense. The secondary was terrible all night. If it wasn't a catch, it was a pass interference or defensive holding. Constantly. Did not get a stop. And so Arkansas's offense is having to do everything they can, scratching tooth and nail just to get stick with them. And nothing was working. I mean, I don't know. It is tough, because that's a game you're looking for Arkansas. You should have won. And even if you make that 38-yard field goal earlier, it's 41-38, you're not thinking of throwing the ball with 2 minutes left. You're just running it because you have field goal in your back pocket. The kicker has a little more momentum or a little more confidence now to go in and make that kick. Push for overtime at best, at worst, but you're going to win that game. I mean, Talon is going to put the team on his back there and make sure that they come out with a win with hopefully as little time as possible because you know that secondary would have given up a big chunk play at the end. But we didn't get to see that, unfortunately. But all night, defense never got a stop. It finally gets a stop, and the offense and defense roles reverse. And you're looking at it, and it's very typical. It's very frustrating. But I mean, Arkansas has maybe the best quarterback in the SEC right now. I mean, seriously. Taylor Green, 22 for 35, 305 passing yards, 1 touchdown to Omega Blake. But then 14 carries, 115 yards, and 1 rushing touchdown as well. Omega Blake, six receptions, 81 yards, and 1 touchdown. But if you have a quarterback who goes for 420 yards total, and your offense has 500 plus yards, you would think you would win that game. I mean, you really would. But you just find a way to always almost win. Trinidad Chambliss getting his first start for the injured Austin Simmons, 21 for 29, 353 yards, 1 touchdown, 15 carries, 62 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Then you had Austin Simmons come in for a drive, rush for 7 yards on you, pick up the first, and then throws a 4-yard touchdown pass on one leg. He can't even stand. The guy was wide open. I don't know what it is that happened, but your NIL, most of it went to the secondary and the offensive line. The offensive line is looking like money well spent. The secondary is a little questionable right now. And so, really, with that, it's can you clean it up against Memphis this week? But then Notre Dame coming to Arkansas in 2 weeks. How does that look? I mean, a lot of things to clean up. The rush defense did not look bad at all. I mean, because you had Quan Lacey only have 17 carries for 44 yards. I mean, it really, not much more you could ask for there. It's just frustrating. It really is. Because you have an offense that is a top 10 offense in the country, but a defense that's, after this game, bottom 10. Enough said. Moving on to Tulane versus Duke. Darian Mintz's return. Tulane jumped out pretty early and looked convincing. And then kind of let up the edge there. But still came away with a convincing win in a big-time environment for Tulane, And so Tulane -1 hits with ease. But that was a very solid game to end the night off too. I mean, you couldn't ask for much more, really, from that game. A lot of points, a lot of action, back and forth, and then Tulane takes the final punch and goes ahead and wins. But then looking at games, that I had no bets on, but were highlight games of the week. You had South Florida at Miami, a ranked matchup, which 2 weeks ago you wouldn't have thought, like I was saying. I leaned Miami to cover and win convincingly, and they did exactly that. Let's pull it up real quick. The final score of this game was 49-12. And they got anything they wanted really much. Carson Beck, 23 for 28, 340 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. And then you had Mark Fletcher Jr., 16 carries, 120 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So your offense is looking the best under Mario Cristobal besides, last year. But these past 2 years, your offense has taken leaps and bounds compared to the start of Mario Cristobal's tenure. Now your defense is coming to play too. Your defense is looking like the real deal, a top 5 defense in the country, where Miami is a team to beat in the ACC. I figured they would be second behind Clemson this year, but it's Miami, then Florida State, and then Georgia Tech, and then it's just kind of the pack there. But if you're USF, you'd had a lot of things go right these 2 weeks. This week, I don't want to say I expected it, but I didn't expect a 37-point loss. So this is kind of a letdown game for them. A get right game though for the future. I mean, they'll be fine this year. They'll be good. So, I mean, yeah, on the CW network. Like, really, we couldn't put that game on a little better coverage, like ACC network or something. But moving on, you had Florida and LSU, and Florida had one of the worst drive charts I've ever seen to go behind DJ Lagway's 5 interceptions. Three in the second half. Doesn't make it much better for the first half, I guess, but two. But the final score of this game, 20-10, a showing where LSU did have the slow start, where they kept Florida hanging in, like I was saying. Their offense has not impressed me, but their defense looks legit. I mean, I've said it, it's national championship caliber. But look at this drive chart from Florida. Field goal, interception, punt, touchdown, up 10-3 at this point in the second quarter. Interception, punt, interception, punt, interception, end of game. You can't have that. DJ Lagway, 33 for 49, 287 yards, 1 touchdown pass, 5 interceptions. Then Garrett Nussmeier on the other side of the ball, 15 for 27, 220, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. I mean, this game, I took the under and just I last second bet, like, hey, it's starting, and I didn't even have to look at it. You know, I went to a wedding Saturday night and checked the score and saw it was 10-3 at halftime or whatever. I mean, it was 20-10 at halftime, or 13-10 at halftime. Excuse me. But if you're Florida, where do you go from here? Because your schedule does not get any easier, considering you have Miami this weekend at Miami, Texas coming to town after that, A&M. Well, you have a bye week in between Miami and Texas. And then A&M, Mississippi State, Georgia, Kentucky, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and then Florida State. Besides Kentucky and Mississippi State, and Mississippi State's not a guarantee, what other wins do you have on this in the schedule? After these past 2 games, those 2, and that's it. And I think you in 3-9 after what was the talk of the town, the hype train, everything this year. But people forgot who Billy Napier is, and these past 2 weeks have shown that, hey, that seat is, I mean, it's the hottest thing it can be. And so I think they pull the trigger pretty soon. Pretty soon. If Texas comes in there and beats up on you after Miami kind of maybe beats up on you, which is a weird spread, 7.5, low spread, you know. But Miami looks to the part right now to really say Florida's going to go in there and win. I mean, if I'm wrong, so be it. That's a good win right there. That may be a season turnaround. I just don't see it with Florida yet. Now with LSU, you play Southeast Louisiana. That's one where Garrett Nussmeier has to just freely throw the ball. I mean, just getting that rhythm again, going into real SEC play. You gotta just start. You gotta go. So then that leads me to the last game, which I had no bet on. Notre Dame and Texas A&M in the wildest of games possible. Texas coming out with a 41-40 win, where Tyler Buckner mishandles a snap on a PAT from Notre Dame, and ultimately it would have been tied there. A&M, when they scored, may have gone for 2, but back and forth all night. I mean, A&M up 28-24 at halftime, and Marcel Reed throws for less than 50%, 17 for 37, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, with 360 passing yards. Or Le'Veon Moss had 20 carries, 81 yards, 3 touchdowns. And then Mario Craver, who I had talked about coming into the season, had 7 receptions, 207 yards, and 1 touchdown. Then on the other side of the ball, you had CJ Carr for 20 for 32, 293 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, with Jeremiah Love having 23 carries, 94 yards, and 1 touchdown. So now you're putting Notre Dame in an 0-2 hole with Purdue coming to town. You should win that. So you need something to get back on the track before the train falls off. And that is the game to do it. Because then you go to Arkansas, where Arkansas hopefully is sitting at 3-1, and this matchup isn't what you expected with a 3-1 team and a 1-2 team, but it still has all the implications of season defining for both. But enough about the future. The first quarter started off with punt, touchdown, interception. 14-7 Notre Dame at the end of the first. Field goal, touchdown, interception, touchdown, fumble, downs. 28-24 A&M at halftime. Right there, A&M had every drive result in a touchdown, and that was what really got it clicking for them. In a game that Notre Dame's defense, highly touted, let you down. Your offense did everything that it could. I mean, really. And one of my questions was, Marcel Reed able to pass or rely on run game? And he was able to pass with less than 50% completion percentage. It becomes a little worrisome because your defense was doing everything possible in Miami for the run, not so much pass. But now your pass is looking volatile. Your pass defense is looking volatile. So really, what do they get fixed going into next week for Purdue? Because that's a team that you should shut them down and handle them pretty well. I mean, get out of there with a convincing win, kind of, hey, we're still here, But A&M now, that's a big road win. I mean, you jump to number 10 in the country after that, where you have a bye week, but then Auburn coming to town the next week. And what should be a top 25 matchup, depending on how OU and Auburn go this week. But that's a big win for A&M in games that didn't look very convincing in the first two until late pullaways. They needed that. And so I think they're right up there in that top 4 teams of the SEC. Just with how the SEC is shaped up so far. You would go to say Georgia, LSU, A&M, and maybe slide in Oklahoma. I mean, because everybody else has one loss, or Ole Miss per se is 3-0, but yeah, you can't really say that. Mississippi State's 3-0, but their best wins, Arizona State. So really a good week of college football again, and we got another good slate. Nothing as crazy as this starting off, but some good matchups for week 3. OU and Auburn, obviously the headliner, Jackson Arnold returning to OU. How does that game fare? But my goal is to have a video out come tomorrow or hopefully Friday at the latest. And so with that being said, that is it for this, and I will talk to you guys later. Thank you.